Right now, inside your body, something is happening that most smokers never think about. Every single cigarette you light sends over 7,000 different chemicals into your lungs. Hundreds of them are toxic. At least 70 of them are known to cause cancer, and your body has to deal with every single one of them, cigarette after cigarette, year after year. Today we're going to walk through exactly what smoking does to your body, organ by organ, system by system, and then at the end, I want to tell you something personal and talk about one of the most famous books ever written about quitting, Allen Carr's The Easy Way to Stop Smoking. Stick around for that part. It gets honest. And if you want more videos like this, subscribing genuinely helps this channel keep making them. Let's start with the obvious one, your lungs. When you inhale smoke, tiny hair-like structures called cilia line your airways. Their job is to sweep out dust, bacteria, and debris. Smoke paralyzes them. Over time, they stop working almost entirely. That's why smokers develop the classic smoker's cough. It's the lungs desperately trying to clear out gunk that the cilia can no longer handle on their own. Inside the lungs are millions of tiny air sacs called alveoli, where oxygen actually enters your bloodstream. Smoke damages the walls of these sacs. Over years, they lose elasticity and start to merge into larger, less efficient spaces. This is the beginning of emphysema, a condition where your lungs can never fully recover their surface area for exchanging oxygen. It's not something that heals, it's permanent lung tissue, gone. Now let's talk about your heart. Every cigarette causes an immediate spike in heart rate and blood pressure. Nicotine tightens your blood vessels, forcing your heart to pump harder just to push blood through narrower channels. At the same time, carbon monoxide from the smoke binds to your red blood cells more easily than oxygen does, which means your blood is literally carrying less oxygen with every beat. This double stress, narrower vessels, less oxygen, is why smokers have a dramatically higher risk of heart attacks and strokes. Smoking also accelerates the buildup of plaque inside artery walls, a process called atherosclerosis. Imagine a pipe slowly getting clogged with sludge until, one day, it blocks completely. That's essentially what happens inside a smoker's arteries, often silently, for decades before symptoms show up. Your brain isn't safe from this either. Nicotine reaches your brain within about 10 seconds of inhaling, faster than drugs injected directly into a vein. It attaches to receptors that normally respond to a natural brain chemical called acetylcholine, triggering a release of dopamine, the feel-good chemical. That's the hit smokers chase. But here's the trap. Your brain adapts. It builds more nicotine receptors to handle the constant flood, which means you need more nicotine just to feel normal, and even more to feel that original rush. This is the biological root of addiction. It's also why quitting causes real physical withdrawal, irritability, anxiety, trouble concentrating, and intense cravings, all because your brain chemistry has been rewired to expect nicotine on a schedule. It doesn't stop at your lungs and brain. Smoking affects almost every visible part of your body too. It breaks down collagen and elastin in your skin, the proteins that keep skin firm and elastic. Combined with reduced blood flow, this is why long-term smokers often develop deeper wrinkles, especially around the mouth, and a duller, grayish skin tone years before non-smokers show the same signs of aging. Your teeth and gums take a hit as well. Smoking restricts blood flow to the gums, weakening their ability to fight infection. This is a major reason smokers face higher rates of gum disease and tooth loss. Tobacco tar is also, quite simply, what stains teeth yellow over time. No whitening toothpaste can fully outpace a habit that keeps redepositing it daily. There's also a side of smoking people talk about less: fertility and reproduction. In men, smoking is linked to lower sperm count and reduced sperm mobility. In women, it can damage egg quality and accelerate the natural decline in fertility with age. During pregnancy, smoking restricts oxygen and nutrient flow to the developing baby, increasing risks of low birth weight, premature birth, and other complications. Your immune system pays a price too. Smoking suppresses the activity of immune cells that normally hunt down infections and abnormal cells before they become a real problem. This is one of the reasons smokers tend to get sick more often, heal more slowly from wounds and surgeries, and face a much higher risk of numerous cancers, not just lung cancer, but cancers of the mouth, throat, esophagus, bladder, kidney, and pancreas, among others. Speaking of cancer, it's worth understanding why smoking causes it in the first place. Many of the chemicals in tobacco smoke directly damage DNA inside your cells. Normally, your body has repair mechanisms to fix this kind of damage, but with repeated exposure, cigarette after cigarette, day after day, some of that damage slips past the repair systems. Over years, these small errors accumulate until a cell's growth controls break down completely, and that uncontrolled growth is what we call cancer. And it's not only the smoker who's affected. Secondhand smoke contains many of the same toxic chemicals, and people regularly exposed to it, partners, children, co-workers, face real increases in respiratory illness, heart disease, and cancer risk, despite never lighting a cigarette themselves. Now here's the part that actually gives most smokers hope. The human body is remarkably good at healing once you stop feeding it smoke. Within 20 minutes of your last cigarette, heart rate and blood pressure start dropping back toward normal. Within 12 hours, carbon monoxide levels in your blood fall dramatically, letting oxygen flow more freely again. Within a few weeks, circulation improves and lung function starts to climb. Give it a year, and your risk of heart disease drops to roughly half that of someone still smoking. Give it 10 to 15 years, and your risk of lung cancer and heart disease approaches that of someone who never smoked at all. The damage isn't automatically permanent, but the window to reverse it only opens once you actually quit. And I'd genuinely love to know, if you've quit, or you're trying to, tell me in the comments what actually worked for you. Not the theory, the real thing. Other people reading this might need exactly your answer today. Which brings us to one of the most talked about quitting methods in the world, Allen Carr's The Easy Way to Stop Smoking. First published in the 1980s, it sold tens of millions of copies and is often described by former smokers as the method that finally worked after every patch, gum, and willpower attempt had failed. Carr's central idea is simple but genuinely different from most quitting advice. Instead of telling smokers to grit their teeth and resist temptation, he argues that the entire framing of giving something up is the problem. He spends the book systematically dismantling the belief that smoking gives you anything at all, arguing that the relaxation a cigarette seems to provide is really just nicotine withdrawal being temporarily relieved. The cigarette isn't calming you down, it's removing a discomfort that only exists because you smoke in the first place. Here's something interesting though. Allen Carr was famously critical of hypnosis as a quitting method. He thought it was a shortcut that didn't address the real psychology of addiction. And yet, if you actually read the book closely, that's almost exactly what he's doing to you. Page after page, he repeats the same core phrases in slightly different forms. Smoking gives you nothing. Smoking is a trap. Smoking is a filthy, pointless habit that has never once actually helped you. It's repetition, rhythm, reframing, said with total confidence over and over until it starts to feel less like an argument and more like a fact you already knew. That's not so different from a hypnotic induction. Carr built a method that quietly uses the very tool he publicly dismissed. He just called it logic instead. And honestly, I want to say something personal here, because I think it matters more than any statistic in this video. I read that book myself, and it worked. For 25 days, I didn't smoke a single cigarette. Genuinely didn't want one. The whole reframing clicked, exactly the way people describe it online. And then, on day 26, I smoked one. I still don't fully know why. There was no crisis, no big trigger I can point to and blame. It just happened, quietly, almost accidentally. And here I am, back to smoking, 9 years into this habit now. I'm not telling you this to sell you on the book, or to talk myself down. I'm telling you because I think quitting is rarely a straight line, and almost nobody talks about the relapse part out loud. We hear, "I quit and never looked back" stories constantly. We don't hear, "I quit for 25 days, and it was real, and then it wasn't" nearly as often. Even though that's probably closer to the truth for most people who try. 25 smoke-free days isn't a failure, it's proof the method can work on you. The slip afterward doesn't erase that. Critics and later psychological reviews note that this method doesn't work identically for everyone. Nicotine addiction has a real physical component, and no book, no matter how convincingly it repeats itself, replaces that biology entirely. But even among skeptics, there's wide agreement that shifting your mindset away from sacrifice and toward escape measurably improves quit success rates compared to willpower alone. So if you've read this book or tried any method at all, even if you slipped, even if you're mid-relapse right now like me, I'd really like to hear about it in the comments. What got you through the first hard days? What made you go back? There's no judgment here. I think the more honestly we talk about this, the more it helps someone else scrolling through, wondering if quitting is even possible for them. So here's the real takeaway. Smoking touches nearly every system in your body: lungs, heart, brain, skin, immune system, fertility, and it does so through mechanisms that are now very well understood by science. But the same science shows something else just as clearly. Quit, even for 25 days, even if you slip afterward, and your body starts repairing itself almost immediately in ways that compound for years. If this video helped you understand what's actually happening inside a smoker's body, or if it just made you feel a little less alone in trying to quit, consider subscribing. I'm making more videos like this, and honestly, comments like yours are what keep this channel going. Tell me your story below. Someone out there needs to read it today.